Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all it gives us and what we hope it gets you. This is episode 72 today, and we're just coming with, I don't know, I feel like we've had like a really productive slash like energetic week when it comes to the projects that we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so and I finished a book. So yeah. So we have a lot to just,
have a lot to say. But, okay. I am going to start with a finished object. Believe it or not, another blanket. Believe it or not. But this one is bulky. It's the bulky one that I don't know if I showed last week. I think I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I mentioned it, I think. And this is one that I started and ran out of yarn, just like the last week's one. And then had to wait until I got some more from the thrift stores before I could start on it again.
Yep.
And so I went through my stash and I found every bulky yarn I had, and I brought it out in a basket that I have, a square canvas basket that I have. And it's nice to go into my room, go shopping in my room with my own canvas bag, come out, put it in this under area of my side table where my chair is, and just have the yarn there for when I just whip it up and I'm just like, okay, that's the next yarn. And I've got it to go. When you only work with one yarn at a time, it's kind of a different deal than when you're working with two. You got to make sure that things are a little bit more balanced or a little bit go together a little bit more. But when you're working with two yarns, it's kind of a balance act all the way through, using the two yarns. Usually I use one kind of specific color in the background and then one that's the color. And you'll see that in a little bit when I show you my next project. But this one has just got one yarn going at a time, and it's bulky, and it's let me see if we can just find the end here. And it's dropping things. It's just color going all the way down and all the way down, and then the last color I just started going all the way around with a couple of rows of just the navy blue. And so whoever gets this is going to be nice and cozy and warm, and that's what this is all about, just having a nice cozy, warm, homey feeling, having the blankets. And it's all different kinds. Some of them have Sarah's figuring this out, some of them have like what would you call that, confetti in it, just all these different random threads through it. Yep, I've got all different kinds. Some of them have sparkle in them. Some of them, you know, the gold sparkle and the silver sparkle, and you just...
Why is it hard to work with this stuff?
It can be. There's certain ones that
it's like
you
the
wouldn't
stitches
use.
go invisible.
Yeah, you wouldn't use for anything else, or I didn't have any other use for it, and you don't have enough of it to go for a whole blanket. This is why scrappy blankets work so well. And then you just have all this, I don't know, this yarn down here is not as soft. It's utilitarian, it's hardworking, it's a good blanket if you want something for, you know, outdoors or like even a picnic area or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, this yarn up here is just
blanket soft.
Oh my gosh.
Baby
just
soft.
Yes. I would have loved to done a blanket all in this red. It's gorgeous. It's cozy. I love this one. But I didn't, like I said, when you don't have enough of one color or the same brand or whatever, it's all just bulky. You just make a scrappy blanket and you work with what you've got and you make something beautiful, and somebody will use it and love it, and that's what it's all about. The next one that I'm going to show you, I found a deal at Goodwill, and I think that's what dropped on the floor.
I got it.
Okay. My label dropped on the floor, and it's Mandela yarn. And
Lionheart Mandela.
yep,
Space.
Lion brand Mandela yarn. And I have this one. I think there was 2 Sphinxes and there was other ones. They only charged $3 per skein. And there was a whole bunch of them, so I just grabbed them up. And I don't usually use 3-ply yarn very much, but it will go good with a 4-ply. It's going good as using it as your second
add-on color.
Yes. And I'm going to be making this, I believe, for my son. He's going through some troubles right now, and this is something I can do that he will cherish for a long time. He is very sentimental, keeps things from way back.
Yeah.
And he can tell you every time somebody gave him something, he can tell you the dates that it happened on. He's very, very sentimental, and he's very good with numbers and dates and all that kind of stuff. So this Sphinx is, let me just get this all together, all these different colors, and it just kind of runs through, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm pairing it with just an ordinary like camel, beige, sand,
lace.
yeah, antique color.
Can't tell I've made things that are skin colored before.
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of these different random, and even if it changes tones a little bit, it's still going to flow all the way through. And working with, I just balled this up this morning because I went to her house to watch the grandbabies for a little while, and I had been working at pulling it out of the middle, which is great. You've got a cake of Mandela, and pulling it out of the middle just makes sure that it doesn't go anywhere. But when you want to go somewhere, it's better to have it in a ball. And I didn't want it collapsing on me. I didn't want it knotting up. And so I balled it up this morning to take along with me. I only got part way done with one part of a row because the grandkids wanted to play, and that's more important. And you go over there to watch the kids, and if they're going to be watching their tablets or whatever and they're occupied with something else, yeah, go get your stuff out. Do that. But if they just want to play and they've got their dolls out and they've got their pretend imaginations going on, you want to play with that. You know, you want to encourage the grandkids with that.
Engage it.
Yeah, and so that's what I did. But when they started settling down and wanting to watch their tablets a little bit more, I got this out. But then they wanted to play again. So anyway, the colors look like this, and this is what it is, just what it is so far. And I'm thinking this is really going together very, very well, and I think my son will love this. He is colorblind, so he really can't see reds or greens. I'm not sure what colors he can see, but I think the blues and the greens are, not the greens, but the grays and the
Browns.
blues and the browns, and I know that he knows yellow. Yellow won't be introduced in this, but just maybe a mustard yellow down at the bottom, but it's more like earth tones, and I think for a guy,
like sand, like going to the beach.
yeah, for a guy that works. And so I started out with 200 stitches, chains, and I forgot my 201st because I forgot that I was going, I don't know, I haven't done these in a while. And I realized after I got a couple of rows done, it was like, oh, I should have did 201, and then I would have had 200 across. But 199 is not bad, and he's not going to know the difference. And it should...
You could always border it if you wanted to.
Yeah. It should cover...
him very easily.
Yeah. But even if he wanted to use it on his bed and, you know, just cover up on a couch or whatever, he will have this to work with. And I'm only using a 5mm hook. Now, this is a different thing for me. I usually use a 10mm hook when I'm using 2 strands. But I have a 3-ply and I have 1 4-ply. And I'm just thinking, I thought, well, maybe it's not going to be as hard as I think to work with. Well, I'm wrong. It is hard to work with 2 strands with a 5mm hook. If I had a choice, I probably would have went up to the 10, but I want a nice fabric when I'm done, a nice dense fabric when I'm done. And I think this will work out better if I do it with the 5. It's a tighter weave, and it's not showing any holes or anything like that like a 10mm would. It would be more of an open concept rather than a dense. And I wanted a dense blanket for him. And so I will work with that. I will continue to watch and make sure if I'm dropping loops or anything like that with this, that I'm picking them back up on my next round. I'm not gonna frog back to that when on the next round you can just pick up that loop and add it into your existing
Foundation stitch.
Yeah, the stitch that you're doing at the time. You can just add that in simply, and you don't have to go frogging back just for that 1 loop. And I think that's all I've got to say about that so far. So hopefully you'll see this thing as it grows and progresses, and see the different color changes, and you know, just staying with the sand color. And as the changes go on the mandala, it's surprising and it's good, and I love watching color changes and all that. It's just something I love to do. Now, sticking with the going to the thrift stores concept, the beads that I was doing last week, I decided I needed some dangles and some things to go along to hang at the bottom of them. But I was at one thrift store, and it was a rainy Saturday. All day Saturday it rained. But we went out and we went shopping, and we weren't the only ones shopping out there. There was a lot of people out there shopping. Seems like
Saturday.
Rainy days bring people out to go shopping. I don't know why. I guess it's because in the summertime, if you can't go to the beach, you go shopping. I don't know. But I found a bracelet, and I think it was handmade because it was 2 strands. One was the Dutch, deft, I think Delft, I'm not sure how the word goes. The Dutch painting, hand-painted beads or plates or whatever they make, cups. And the other one was a whole strand of navy blue. And then there was a ring and it had charms on it. And one of them was an old Dutch windmill. And so I've got these charms in a different area. But I found a little wooden bowl, another wooden bowl, and I started putting the Dutch beads into that bowl. And so I'm going to see if I can show you. They're so small. But, okay. So this is what they look like. They're just tiny. And I'm just thinking maybe somehow I can get some of these beads and just use them for what I'm already doing, or I can string them up and do something else with them.
Do you have anything like this in the house?
Mm-mm. And some of them were these little, I found on a different necklace or whatever. I was buying necklaces for the beads, and I'm not sure if this is going to show, but it's engraved metal, and it's got little engraved flowers on it, and just all these kind of deal. You just buy necklaces that you know that you can tear apart, or you can use the beads out of, and repurpose. Yes. I could have bought at an antique store. I saw one with lots of dangles on it, and it was $15 for the whole thing. And I think all the necklaces that I ended up buying at the thrift stores, along with this this bracelet, all together came up to less than $15. And I had a lot more beads to work with than just buying one necklace for $15 that I was only going to get that amount. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, you know what, I can do better than that. I kept going back to that at the antique store, but at the end I just thought, no, there's something stopping me. That's why I'm not doing this. I can do better than this. And at the other antique or thrift stores, I ended up finding all kinds of stuff that I can work with. So I'm proud that I was able to hold off and save the money and use it for a better quantity of the beads than I would have gotten for that one, mm-hmm. you know. So, and that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to be choosy on what we do, and we want to get the best quality for the best amount of money that we can. So, okay, what do you got going on? Where to start?
Finished a book, and
oh, got lots of papers in it. It must have had a lot of notes.
it was really good. This book is called The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion. And it's by Jonathan Haddett, who is a social and moral psychologist. And this book was really, really, really good. Like, I understand some people might not like maybe some of the references he had, or might not fully collaborate with some of the scientific research he was presenting, but I think that what he was getting down to, the nitty-gritty of it all, really presented a very well-rounded case to be able to better understand human nature and the way that we process our morals.
Okay.
And what all of them are.
Okay.
Because there are 6 moral foundations that he represents in this book.
Wow.
And it has broadened my lens as to how complex people and decision making are, because there are a lot of things where it's like you can't express why you feel a certain way about it, but you know it's wrong or you know it's right.
Yeah.
And this puts that into words.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
for both religion or faith belief problems, across the board, no matter what you believe,
Right.
to politics. Wow. This touches all of it, and it touches throughout human history, and different ranges of scopes as to how that this was condensed down to this portion. And just like my mom said, I tore this book up. It's dog-eared like crazy on both top and bottom. And what I did was I had it on audio, and so I was listening to it, and generally I was cooking or cleaning, but at any moment where I knew that there was something I would want to go back to, I would stop my audiobook and I would dog-ear the page, and I'd either underline it or I would get a piece of sticky note and put it in there, or whatever with a caption as to why I want to go back to it. But I don't know. Like I said, it might not be everyone might not agree to how he comes to all his conclusions, and I guess I can understand that. But I feel like it's really hard to argue with the narrative of what he is addressing and how he is addressing it.
Right.
He does it so well that I was very, very pleased with this read. It had, like, this is something I'm going to read again and again and again, and reference and use for some of my more further studies on other things that I'm working on currently. So I'm really excited about it. So I just figured I would show it off.
There you go. Now this is your screenshot if you want it.
So again, I understand that some people might not enjoy the scientific perspective of things like politics or religion or even human nature based on maybe your religious beliefs or your political affiliation, but I feel like this is a very, very good insight as to moral foundations that are transferable no matter your moral matrix.
Yeah.
No matter where you hold yourself, no matter what religion or place, realize that this guy is an atheist, realize this guy is a scientist, but it didn't take away from what I was able to learn.
Right. Right.
Because he respects the beliefs.
Well, that's
and
good.
that, you know what I mean? Like, because he understands where they come from.
Right.
Doesn't take away what he was trying to present.
Right.
And he wasn't discrediting anybody.
That's
he was just expressing
thought processes.
Yeah, pretty much how people come to their conclusions based off how their morals were founded when they were young,
right,
to how they transfer and how they might not even realize that there are other moral foundations that are being tampered with that because they're only putting one higher as the almost like as an idol over all the moral matrices that require a more palatable palette of understanding something whole-roundedly.
Right.
I thought it was really good. Take it for what it is, but this is one of those things where it's like I respect anybody who does who wouldn't want to listen to someone like him. I'm not self-conscious, I guess. I'm very welcome to hearing a lot of different perspectives, and I will take anything what I can get from it.
Yeah.
And then I will let the rest of it go if it does not apply, and then I will press on to see if it collaborates with other things I am finding.
Yeah.
So I do that so much, no matter what the topic is, or where your belief system is, or where your foundations are. Like I'm talking to so many people with different faiths, different standards of beliefs, different identities, different politics all the time, that this sort of stuff doesn't bother me.
Right. Right.
So I understand that it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it was just this is my first dive into moral psychology, and I know that it's something I'm going to look into more. This was a very fun read, and it wasn't a reference. Remember when I went to Burley Park with James? I didn't really find anything there.
Right.
We were originally going to go to Barnes & Noble in GR. Never did because my car couldn't make it.
Right.
We got home. The kids were exhausted. James did finding things was exhausted and satisfied with his spending. I hadn't spent any of my money, really.
Right. And that day you went to Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble.
Oh, and this is what you found?
I found this.
Okay.
I found it in a hardcover. And so I went online and found it for like over $10 cheaper, and I ordered it.
There you go.
And then, because I have an Audible account, I used one of my credits for it, and that book knocked me out for 2 weeks, and I just don't think I'm going to recover from it for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really think this is something I'm going to instantly pick back up after what I'm reading now. Possibly. Oh no, I got another book I have to read. Well, anyway. I know it's something I'm going to pick up again just because the way that it functions allows for... Again, I recognize that there are chapters that could be counteractive to what you believe. That isn't even something that I'm willing to hide. I'm able to look on an outside perspective of, like, I'm able to objectify everything when it comes to in a scholar setting. I'm willing to just be like, okay, let me just listen. And if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. If I feel like I can cancel it out, I can cancel it out. It's not. It doesn't affect me. But I really just enjoyed understanding morals through a foundation level theory that allows me to better see things. It makes me better identify problems, because a lot of the times I have friends that come to me with their problems and they feel that I'm a very good problem solver, and so for me to be able to identify things quicker is something that benefits me in the long run, no matter what they believe.
Right.
So for me to have something where it's like, this is referenceable because this is innate, no matter how you believe the innateness process comes from, this is something a part of who we are and what we crave. And if we are not able to put it into words, it can be very harmful to us.
Right.
So it was just very nice. I thought it was good. I would recommend you read it. But again, I know. Some of the projects that I was doing, I'm trying to get eggs done. I told you that to you guys last week. And partially did not achieve a lot of what I wanted, in quantity I wanted to accomplish, because of several things. First off, I kind of hit a rut just going into one monotonous shape, and I knew I was going to.
Kind of like those floor tires.
Yeah, I despise this so much. But what I am about to show you might help me get through this monotonous.
How many have you finished?
This will be number 6. I'm on number 7.
Okay.
So I did number 6 in a very nice teal, one solid color, because I thought
that's pretty.
I think that there should be some random solid colors in this Easter egg basket, and so there is that. For anyone who's just watching this right from the get-go, it is an Easter egg. I'm crocheting Easter eggs, and I have 5 others that come from various designs, whether it be gradients or just any other combination of multicolored yarns or solid colors that I am either switching out to stripe or half and half or solids. I am just trying to accomplish this order in any way I can, and so I'm just making these eggs, and I am on to, like I said, my 7th one, and I think that this one is going to be really pretty. I don't know. It's not really come off really, like, it's kind of being washed out in the film, but it's like pink and green and white.
It's like a bubblegum
purple. And it's very bright, and like, I don't see, it's just, there are greens, whites, purples, and pinks in here, and they are pretty violent. This is the epitome of Easter thrown up into a yarn. So, am I wrong?
No, you're right. Yeah, it's
and it's very soft yarn.
Yeah. I like that.
So I'm excited to finish this one. I was hopefully going to finish this one today, but I was spending time with my kids, just like you were talking about, which leads me to my next thing. So my kids have been, specifically my daughter, she has a very loud personality. So when she gets frustrated, she is very defensive and opposing, and she will put up a big guard, and then she'll just stand by it even if she knows it's gonna fail. And it's very hard for her to let go of it, which again, it's not that big of a deal for me, except it's been very hard for her to, like, it's one thing if it's with me, you know what I mean? I'm her parent. I'm the one that's going to end up telling her no a lot. That's going to be very frustrating to a little 3-year-old about to be 4. I understand that. But it's different when it's happening with her brother and her friends and in her own social peers. And I'm trying to teach her how to be a friend and how to have empathy and to process things in a way that allows her to know what to do when she has such big emotions. Because, you know, her big emotions with being excited even get her in trouble, because when she's excited and running around and hyper, she can make very compulsive decisions. Just the same as anger can cause her to make very compulsive decisions and throw something or scream. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I'm just trying to get her to understand what her options are. And I have a list of a lot of emotions with different solutions, including little jingles, like little songs that you can sing when they're feeling a certain emotion to match it, empathize with it, and then offering a solution in the song, in the jingle. It doesn't have to be the only one that they choose, but it's one of those things where it's like it can allow them to reference it and be able to communicate with how they're feeling.
Right.
And I like giving words to their emotions, and I've been trying to practice offering them the opportunity to tell me what they're feeling. Because if I just instantly be like, oh, you're just mad, then I'm assuming. And she could be mad, but she could be mad about another feeling she's feeling. Right. So it's like one of those things where it's like I'm trying to give her words to then use, so that I can help her until she is able to help herself. So I've been coming up with these projects. Like I said, I have a huge list of emotions. I think there are like 20 of them that I have, with like at least about an average of 5 to 6 solutions for all of them already written down. But obviously I have the little jingles, and the jingles are Daniel Tiger jingles. So like, I like this one. It's, when you're so mad that you want to roar, take a step back and count, take a deep breath and count to 4. And so it's like, okay, when you feel so mad that you want to scream, take a step back, take a deep breath, and count to 4. It gives you a moment, because a lot of times your adrenaline's pumping and a deep breath can really reset the system. I've been trying to do breathing exercises where when they're really excited and hyper in any capacity, whether it be angry or whatever, and they're hysterical crying, I've been putting my hand up and being like, okay, let's take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And I just go all the way around tracing my hand, and we'll do it likely about 2 times, but it allows them to follow what I'm doing. Just like it gives their vision a different
something to focus
on, while seeing me model the behavior I'm asking them to.
Right.
All these different things, right? Well, I was at Meijer yesterday, and I found out that our local Meijer is having a back to school sale with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they have like lined paper, and that was like $1. And they had these pencil cases that were like, I think these were like under $1, like 34 cents or something.
Really?
Yeah, and so I let the kids pick out their colors. So she has pink and Daniel has green. And I went on the search for little, like, I don't know, index cards. They're like the recipe cards or whatever. And what we're going to be making is solution suitcases, where they both will have a generalized spectrum of emotions that we have in the suitcase.
Wow.
On the index card, I will have a face that mimics that facial emotion, what it is, and some generalized solutions, like ones that can, like, okay, when you're frustrated, what can we do? We can go talk to an adult. We can walk away.
Yeah.
We can, you know, X, Y, and Z. Very generalized solutions. But every single time one of my kids finds a solution that works for them that might not be in this, we're going to write it down on their index card in their box that they can have. Well, on the back of the card, I want to have at least one jingle for each emotion that is mimicked. And these that I have, like, embarrassed. What can we do when we're embarrassed? We can say, like, one of the biggest things I've been doing to teach them how not to be embarrassed is to be able to laugh or say, like, silly me. Or like even if I do something silly and I'm embarrassed in front of them, I'll just tell them to say, "Oh, silly mommy. I'm just such a silly mommy. I made a mistake, but I'm gonna learn from it." And they'll just sit there laughing, be like, "Oh, silly mommy." And I understand that to some that might seem like I'm teaching my kids to laugh at others, but I'm more just trying to get the pressure off, like teaching them that, you know, if we make mistakes, don't take it so hard. You can laugh at yourself, recognize that it's not that serious, and press on. That's what I'm trying to execute. And there's just some things where it's like personalized things that have worked.
Right.
Language, like with my daughter, because she has such a loud personality. One of the things that has worked for me from something I was taught was the okay method. And the okay is, to some people it might sound like I'm asking permission of my child, whereas I am just asking for input, and that's different.
Right.
So I make a solution and I say okay at the end. So, like, she's really frustrated. Let's say she's hungry before dinner and it's a half hour to dinner, and I don't want her to just have a snack. And so I'm like, I'm not going to offer a snack right now because we're about a half hour from dinner. I know that you don't understand time, but that is a Cat in a Hat episode away from dinner.
Right.
Would you like to watch that? Is that okay? And then she can offer with a mirroring okay. Most of the time, putting the okay at the end of a solution, like, let's do this, okay, will allow her to realize that I am trying to communicate to her that I understand that this is frustrating or this is a big emotion, and I am trying to be on the same playing field, offering her a choice.
Right.
Even though I'm hoping that she takes it, I also recognize that if that's not the one that works, she can then just say, "No thanks, let's try something else." And that allows me to find another okay.
Right.
And it has been working really well.
Yeah.
But like I said, back to what I said, she has been screaming. Like, she just has these last couple of days especially. Like, she just wakes up from, like, a nap and she'll just start screaming. And I thought it was a nightmare. Like, I thought that she was having a bad dream or something. And no. She is just in a mood. She wakes up in moods. Like, huge mood swings.
I wonder if she's dreaming something if she don't like it or something.
I don't know. And I'm not trying to laugh, but it's one of those things where it's like, I literally either just have to sit by her, keep her company, and wait it out with her, or like, even if she's just having a bad day. We're not even going to talk about those moments because we've been working on those and they're getting better for sure. But even just like where she just gets frustrated and all she does is just like this high-pitched scream, like this, "Ah!" And then if you say anything, "Ah!" she cuts you off, and she'll just keep going and going and going. And I've had it go for almost an hour before, which is intense.
Yeah.
Because you expect it to die off after like 20 minutes or something.
Right.
Like you have to hold out for only that much, and eventually you start to wear, and that's frustrating.
Right.
But I realized that for her, it's like an energy that needs to get out. And sometimes we take her to her room, sit down with her, and try to problem solve so she's not disrupting the rest of the household. But if I don't have that option because I don't have my spouse in the house with me, what are you to do? And I'm trying to find a solution for that. And I thought, what if I make her a solution pillow where she can scream into it and have her big emotions that are the loudest of her emotions in it.
There you go.
So, again, it's not that I don't want her to come to me, but I also want her to be a self-regulating child, and I want her to have options. And so I have been thinking about how I can create that, and I have my whiteboard, and I kind of just made these generalized big emotions, and I'm just going to make a circle pillow that on one side has, like I said, angry, screaming, and the other one's going to have sadness and disappointment or frustrated or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like, it's just frustrating.
Right.
Because most of the time, anger is just a much louder version of sadness.
Right.
And so it's one of those things where it's like I kind of want that to be an interchangeable, but I'm trying to put colors to it. And so I've decided that anger is going to be red, where I'm going to have everything else carved out in black besides maybe some like yellow or an orange where it looks like it's just heated up and like really frustrated. And then the sadness I'm gonna do in this color.
Yeah, nice calm color.
Well, it's frustrated, so it's kind of like in my head
Like blue.
Yeah,
like you're blue. Like you're sad.
Like you're blue, like you're sad, but it's like you kind of go a little bit into like a melancholy, numb. So it's not as loud as this. And I was thinking, this is going to wash this one out, but at the same time, isn't that what happens?
Yeah.
And I don't need the colors to be on the same spectrum of like matte, pastel, anything. Yeah. I need it to represent this emotion so she's able to identify it. And so I'm working on that. I'm kind of considering whether to make a backpack version of this, which is where the backpack of these come in. These little guys, and which is what this is supposed to be like the band between them. But like a cinch backpack.
There you go.
Where I'm able to have these emotions that she could carry. And if she needs to be able to scream, she can scream into the pillow. I realistically know that at some point she will have to update this coping mechanism. But as we all grow up, we have to update our coping mechanisms. I don't expect her to scream the rest of her life.
No.
But I also want her to know that if she's having a lot of energy and she has no other ability to do it, I'd rather her scream into a pillow than to chuck something at somebody.
Yeah.
I'd rather her punch a pillow than to hurt herself.
It reminds me of Lilo.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to get my kids to better understand other people's emotions and their own at the same time. And that's a hard thing because at this age of development, to even just get them to be self-aware of themselves is one hurdle. But once they get able to understand something, it's, well, you hurt me or you made me sad. And then it's me having to discipline you might make you feel this way, but I only reacted that way because of your behavior.
Right.
Like explaining that their behavior is completely within their control, not that I liken them to their behavior. And just all these different things. And I've just been kind of like planning this stuff out, and so like I said, this is going to be Olivia's, and she's going to have all these different solutions in there. That what I'm going to do is on the top of my refrigerator, the only other thing that really needs to be up there is my sourdough starter. So I'm going to put this basket up there. That's going to be our problem solving basket that I will pull down, and it will have the pillows I'm gonna make. I have that interchangeable octopus that I made her that was kind of like a sassy and sassy but fun that she can have. I'll probably be making Canyon things like this, but at any moment if they need to be able to identify, I will be able to offer them this like this area to be able to sit down and go through their solutions and figure out how they're going to problem solve.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one.
And so I'm excited. I recognize that this is going to be a transition, right? My husband's completely on board with this because that means that in the moment, if he's struggling to think up of an idea, he can just go to their bins, and that allows for us to both be on the same page as to, if we're not in the same location, how are we going to parent consistently. Not to say that we don't, but this will just keep that even that much more easily, readily available.
Right.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just, I know it's going to take persistence, but it's going to be worth it.
Right.
And the payoff, even like me explaining to Olivia the other day, what you do when you're interrupting me, instead of interrupting me, you could just ask for attention. Just literally say that I would like some attention.
Right. And
that way I know what you're asking for. Instead of me stopping and going, causing me to get frustrated because I'm misunderstanding your request. Giving them words is so powerful to being able to work forward. The only other two things I wanted to share was that in the haul as well, I found these ruler index cards, but they're 5x8s.
That's awesome.
And with all the things I've been reading, like this is almost the size of the book that I read.
It is.
And like, it's one of those things where it's like, if there's a page I want to copy, I could have these sticking up where it's like, I'm not trying to cram small little paragraphs into a small index card. I could actually have it in a readable size in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. And like I told you guys a while ago, I did find my mini whiteboard. It came with the options of having magnets with this one, unlike that one, and it did came with its own clip for the dry erase marker, and it does have the little eraser at the end, but it has a track for this, like this little ridge all the way around, so I could move this potentially anywhere I wanted to on either side to store. Like I said, there's a little magnet that comes with it, so I can have notes on it if I wanted to. And so luckily this can be on my refrigerator, but if I like, this has been really helpful for problem solving for me and getting things done and being much more efficient. But if I want to use this for my crafting, I can, and this is much more portable size.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
So
how much was that?
I think it was like $5-6. It was all in the back to school stuff for inside the locker.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really just like all the things I was able to do, and how I'm hoping to be able to reach my kids and finish projects and my reading. So.
And on that note, our scripture today is, "In the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul." Now, isn't that just perfect for what you were just explaining, all this stuff? And I picked this scripture out today. She had no idea. And I had no idea she was going to talk about all this stuff, and it just kind of, God knew. God knew. This verse is Psalms 94, verse 19. I don't know the Bible version. I'm thinking it could be the New King James Version. But in the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul. So actually, God comforts us when we're in our anxiety, and all we have to do is just ask him. He's our parent, right? He's our Father God, and he wants to be part of our life, and he wants to be part of our problem solving, just like Sarah and her daughter Olivia. So in the multitude of my anxieties, if I have a bunch of emotions going on in me, I can ask God to help me out with that, and his comfort will delight my soul. My soul is within me. My belief is that God lives on the inside of me as well. And so if I'm asking him to comfort me through all these trials and errors that I'm trying to work through, he's going to be there to do that. So I just thought this worked out pretty good today. I didn't know this was going to happen, but that's the way it works with God.
That's the reason why my face was... I was processing all the similarities to what I was going to be.
I didn't think she was going to want this scripture today.
I had a look on my face like...
Yeah. And then I said, well, we can always find another one. She said, no, this is the one. So, Yep.
And it was because I was sitting there being like, did she read my stuff when she was watching the kids? Pardon me. Yeah, no, like the idea that I have when I read this is kind of like any of the parables or the representations of God preparing a table. Like, I prepare a table in front of your enemies. I prepare a table like the Last Supper. Like, all the different ways of, like, God preparing this big, massive feast. The thing, it's the whole idea of you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. God could be preparing your solutions, but unless you're willing to take them, he can't force you to take the comfort or to take the options that he has to take away some of these anxieties. Like, I once was told, this is an old saying of, like, you know, anxiety is like a rocking chair. You just sit and rock back and forth and get nowhere. You never get anywhere.
Right.
While you're constantly in motion, just trying to comfort yourself with the soothing motion, but you're not getting anywhere with it.
Right.
And it's just one of those things where I'm sitting there kind of just like, in a multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul. Like, I think about the fact that I once read in some sort of Christian counseling book that they had likened the body as the boundary for the soul. So anything that affects the body will affect the soul, just because it is its so-called container.
Right.
It is what hosts the soul. So if your body is affected by any set abuse or trauma, it will affect the soul, because no matter whether the soul is saved or in salvation or in anything, it is affected in such a deep way by the anxieties that riddle our bodies, the things that keep us up at night, that don't let us sleep, that don't let us decompress, that don't let us detox and relax. Like, things like the brain, when it comes to sleep, when you sleep, a natural chemical will release in your brain that allows your brain to have a natural detox every single night. And to not be able to sleep, it's running on low power, because it's as if it wasn't able to do its proper reboot. Like, imagine like a slow working computer.
Right.
It's the same thing with your brain.
Right.
That hormone cannot be released unless you're in sleep.
Right.
Otherwise, it will not kind of like throw out all the things that it needs to like process out into your digestive tract and stuff.
Right.
And that's why you can get sick.
Yes.
You can be sick when you don't sleep.
Well, and
Like
anxiety makes you ill
foggy.
too. Yeah.
All these different things. And it's like all the different working, balanced system that our bodies have. If we let our anxieties get to the point where they're in control of us, our soul is not at peace.
Right.
And to think that in such a simple verse, like in the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul. Your comforts penetrate deeper than the anxieties do.
Yeah.
Because if you can find the comforts of the coping mechanisms and the structures, especially within God's word, that can help you better live your life in a much well-structured manner that doesn't allow you to just feel like you're without any sort of protection or
Right.
able to say no, able to say yes, able to do what you need to do, then it's chaos. And I would just suggest to anybody to be, the Boundaries books, which is where I got this from, by Townsend and Cloud, a Christian therapist and counseling duo.
Right.
They are it has actually a very good representation of this verse.
Oh, good.
So, well, we're rounding it up. For as much as we thought we were going to have a short episode, we both had hauls. So,
yes.
We hope that you enjoyed our video today. We always enjoy hanging out with you.
Yes, we do.
And until next week, we hope that you guys have a great rest of your week, that your projects get done, and that you are able to just have a very enjoyable week. Please let us know what you're working on and what you're reading, and any sort of projects even outside of the yarn world that you're doing, just like us with her beads and my projects with my kids. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we hope that you stitch your way
To mental health.